Can I go in my Google Doc and can I hit the shared with me button? Is it on there?
It you could, or if it's been shared with you, go up to the search box and start typing in story starter, and it
Okay.
will show up.
Do you put all the story starters under the same doc, or is it a new doc each
I
time?
do new docs for every story starter. That way, it doesn't
Get confusing with
get
all of them.
confusing with all the other ones, right? And so
Okay.
remember, when you get that new one, you copy and then paste it into a new Google or the form that you've used before. So
Okay.
you could put other story starters underneath the ones that you've done before. But
Okay. You'll know where they start.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Or you
Okay.
can make a whole new form and send it to me, and that's fine too. Either way.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any other questions about that?
I'm good.
Are you okay? All right. Well, let's see here. Where did we leave off? We got done right at the end of what happened.
The funeral.
The funeral, yes. And then we read a little bit further after that, didn't we? Did, didn't she go afterwards? Didn't she go to the hair salon place?
Oh yeah, she went to the hair salon to try to talk to the ladies about what was going, if they knew her or anything. The
Right.
one, the one lady was kind of being sketchy and chipping away at the one girl's nails.
I know. You could tell that maybe she's kind of hiding something because she knows something. Don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, but I don't think no barber lady would. Didn't we find out that Bobby isn't Steltrack's mom?
Right. Right. We found out that Bobby really wasn't related to. Yeah.
And in this, what we were supposed to read, but we're gonna read it again. We'll find out more.
We will find out more. You're right. I know a little bit, and you do too. So we're going to find out more again. So we're going to start at chapter 14, page 111 today. Okay.
Okay.
Claire, can you start reading for us today?
Lucas said, "It's down in black and white." Bobby James Finney was born in the Memorial Hospital to a Dorothy Finney. No father listed. Bobby James Finney doesn't even have the same name as Bobby Trapp. And why? Do you want to listen and learn something? Okay, I'm fine. It's just that that scares me. If Mrs. Trapp isn't Bobby's mother, she
Okay,
has a
stop, stop, Claire,
Hold up.
stop, stop. I think you started off where we're starting at the beginning of chapter 14.
Oh, 14.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Hold on. Hold on.
that's okay.
I was looking all over to find where she was at. I was like, I don't know where we're at.
Uh, Trying to get there. It's 13. What was that? Okay. Yep,
Chapter
okay.
14, page 110, 111.
Do you want me to read it?
Yep.
Yeah. Muggy White was news by at 5. Today, Estelle Traps was modestly and quietly buried at Rose Hill Memorial Park in Corpus Christi, with only a handful of friends in attendance. Although Lieutenant Doherty had informed the press that Bobby Trapp, arrested today for the murder of her mother, would not be allowed to be present at the funeral, at the last minute she was spirited from the county jail and brought, in the company of two policewomen, to the cemetery. Without emotion, without displaying any sign of sorrow, Bobby Trapp was present to see the coffin containing her mother's body lowered into its grave. News I have brought you these exclusive films, which will be repeated during our newscast at 10 o'clock tonight. Both of them at the funeral. What a laugh. Especially the one who always makes me think of a wild-eyed cat with a dog on her tail. Well, she had to come, I guess. That girl was there too, Jennifer Wilcox. You don't know how close I'm watching you, do you, Jennifer Wilcox? If you did, girl, you'd run. Maybe she's making me edgy. Or maybe it's wondering about the stuff. It's got to be someone in the house. If the police had found it, we'd know. Maybe I should go back and take a look. Maybe tonight. Or maybe tomorrow night when I think the thing flew and figure out where she might have hit it. Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Okay, Hunter. Who is talking in this chapter?
Talking?
The stalker, right?
Yeah, the
Okay.
stalker.
What's he talking about doing?
We were talking about doing?
Yeah, what's the stalker going to do? He's thinking about.
Talking something about a cemetery.
Well, yeah, he watched the cemetery news report on the TV. But then what else is he going to do?
What else? Anyway. There's something about a coffin.
Well, if you were following along, it says that he was going to go back to the house because he left something there. Something that could lead to him, he thinks. So he doesn't think the police are on to him, but he's going to maybe go back tonight to the Trax house.
Do you think he's gonna look for the one thing of Stella's? No.
The paper that Stella has?
No, the bag. Remember the bag and the floorboard underneath the loose nail? I don't want to leak this.
Yeah, don't leak it. Okay, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Read chapter 15. Start at chapter 15.
Okay. I don't understand, Jennifer said. What makes you think that Miss Track wasn't Bobby's mother? Records, Lucas said. It doesn't. In black and white, Bobby Jane Simony was born in a memorial hospital to Dorothy Simony. No, father listened. Bobby Jane Simony doesn't even have the same name as Bobby Track. And why? Do you want to listen and learn something? Okay, I'm sorry. It's just that what you said scares me. If Miss Track isn't Bobby's mother, then it looks worse for Bobby. Bobby doesn't it? Jennifer clamped her lips together and waited. Don't jump to unfolded conclusions.
My turn. Unfounded.
Unfounded conclusions, Lucas said. Right now, we're simply discuss facts. According to police records and old newspaper stories, when Bobby was about 2 years old, her mother, Dorothy Simony, was killed in a knife fight in a bar. Dorothy's sister, Miss Stella Crambo, and her husband, Arthur Crambo, were given custody of the child. If they adopted her, her name ought to be Crambo. They didn't adopt her. Soon afterwards, Arthur were divorced. By this time, Bobby was old enough to go to school. Stella had married Flora Track, and Bobby was enrolled in school as Bobby Track. That marriage lasted only a few years, and Stella was divorced again.
Individual turn. Taryn. You're on mute.
Yeah. But Ellen and Daryl lived with Stella too. I wonder why when none of the children were hers. I'm guessing, and it would take a lot of unnecessary research to find out. But I think we could say that since Stella's ex-husband Arthur was in the Navy, he probably away on sea duty a lot. His first wife, the mother of his sons, died when they were very young. He could have sent a allowment to Stella to take care of the boys. Jennifer let out a long sigh. You found out so much just by hunting through old records. Still got the movie idea of what a private eye does. You'll find out it's mostly a lot of legwork, a lot of sitting on chairs, going through old newspaper clippings and city and county and police record. Jennifer thought of the threatening telephone call she had received and gave a sharp
Laugh.
laugh. Sharp laugh. Hey,
Yeah.
boring stuff. Yeah, boring stuff, she said. There was a pause. Something wrong? No, Jennifer said quickly. I just thinking, do we find out where those husbands are? They could be suspects. Arthur lives in Arizona, mostly on disability pay from the Navy. Floyd died a few years ago. That puts us back with a lot of questions and no answers. Could we give could we look in Mrs. Track's handbag? Maybe that would give us some clues. She carried a large bag and it always seemed to be stuffed. No handbag on the property list, Lucas said. If there had been a handbag, the police would have taken possession of it, and we would have no legal right to go through it. He paused. You know, a missing handbag was one of the reasons I decided to take this case. If Bobby had taken money from Stella's bag, then she ran away, the bag would have been somewhere in the house. If she'd taken the bag itself, it would have been in that lean-to on the beach. But since the handbag seems to be non-existent, I felt from the beginning there was something else involved.
Someone else
But
involved.
someone else involved.
Individual turn, Mrs. Blakey.
But Jennifer, stopped herself in time, her heart thumping in her ears. That is, she amended. You're saying that even if the police had the handbag, we couldn't look through it, right? So what do we do next? Jennifer knew what she was going to do, but she wasn't going to tell Lucas. If she was aware of what she knew, that there was a loose board in the floor of one of the kitchen cabinets where Mrs. Trax always hid her handbag, he'd be honor bound to tell the detective working on the case. Jennifer didn't feel honor bound to anyone but Bobby. For the moment, you don't have to do anything, Lucas was telling her. Tomorrow, I've got some more work to do in records, and I'm going to try to talk to Bobby. Could I go with you? Not this time. Not yet. She's my friend. I want to see her. You hired me, Jennifer. Now, let me call the shots. Okay, Jennifer said. Is it all right with you if I go to see Mrs. Trax's neighborhood? That's Mrs. Potter. I think it would be a good idea. I'll be in touch. Goodbye, Lucas, Jennifer said. Her fingers were trembling as she hung up the telephone. She would talk to Mrs. Potter, but first she was going to the Trax house to find that handbag.
Individual turn, Mr. Lindblad. I forgot to tell you. Granny spoke behind her, and Jennifer jumped. Good heavens, girl, you spooked today. All I said was, I'm sorry, Granny, I didn't hear you come in the kitchen. Well, I was going to tell you, if you don't keep interrupting, that Roy's going to pick up some fried chicken and stuff for our dinner, so you don't have to fix nothing, she said. Only he's going to be a mite late. Probably going to have to drink with that woman before he heads home. With Gloria? Jennifer said automatically. Granny, it's Friday. Dad needs to relax. Saturday is one of his busiest days at the nursery. I give him credit for being a good hard worker, she says. It's just that I don't know why he wants to waste his time on that woman. Jennifer patted her grandmother's shoulder. I'm going out for a little while. I'll be back pretty soon, probably before Dad gets home. Look, I'll set the table right now so everything will be ready, and you can watch your television programs. It's late, Grandma complained. The news is over. She brightened. Say they showed the funeral on TV. I looked for you, but they showed Bobby in the coffin, and and not you or the other people there. Jennifer shuddered. I won't be long, Granny, she said, or she left before her grandmother could offer any more objections. It didn't take long to get to Bobby's house. It was dark by the time she arrived, and she was glad. If the nosy Mrs. Asidio saw her, she might get into trouble. She hadn't brought the flashlight because she knew where Mrs. Trax kept one in the left-hand drawer in the kitchen. She had come into the yard from the street behind Bobby's, a shortcut that they often used, crossing the vacant lot and ducking through the oleander hedge. The cloying sweetness of the thick clusters of oleander blossoms made it hard to breathe, and branches plucked at her shirt. For a moment, Jennifer paused, looking around the yard, straining to see if there was any movement at Mrs. Asidio's side windows, but they were dull with darkness of an empty house. Jennifer ran across the backyard and crouched under the window with the broken lock. Again, she waited and watched. Again, there was nothing but silence. Slowly, she got to her feet, pushed up the bottom section of the window, and hoisted herself to the sill. She was shaking as she climbed through the window and onto the sofa in the darkness, so terrifying it was like a scream waiting to happen. It crept over her, a feeling that hovering shape that began to emerge from the blackness were living and breathing and waiting for her to move so they could pounce. Was that the sound of her own breathing she heard, or was someone else here with her, close enough to touch? Jennifer waited, to panic, to run, to dive through the window, but she clutched the edge of the sofa cushion and waited until her eyes became adjusted to the darkness. Of course she was alone, she told herself. She had given in to panic, that's all. She took a few steady, long breaths, willing herself to calm down, to do the job she had come here to do. Finally, she was able to get to her feet and make her way past the massive armchair of the kitchen. Individual turn, Claire.
Flashlight first. She opened the drawer and her groping fingers immediately closed on the cold metal shaft of the flashlight. Quickly she turned it on, aiming it at the floor. Jennifer didn't know if she felt better with or without the pencil slim shaft of light. It seemed to make the shadows larger, the dark of the living room more ominous. She stooped and opened the last cabinet on the left, lifting up the boards that covered the bottom. There lay the handbag. Jennifer pulled it out, replacing the board without a sound, as though trying to shield her absence from that listening house. She sat on the floor, the bag on her lap, and opened it. There was a small vinyl case that bulged tightly against the snap that held it shut. Jennifer opened it first. Inside there were credit cards and cards from credit card purchases. She was about to close it, puzzled why Mrs. Trax had so many cards and would save the cards when she noticed the name on one of the cards. It wasn't spelled Trax. She thumbed through the other cards. They were made out in a variety of names. The cousins too. Most of those came from the small jewelry store, although a few were from the drugstore. Jennifer was familiar with both the stores. They were in the shopping strip in the south part of Corpus Christi. It dawned on her that the credit cards had probably been stolen. What would Mrs. Trax be doing with those cards? In the zippered side pockets of the bag were a lot of tissues, a couple of lipsticks and a comb, a pair of dark glasses, some bank books, and checkbook held together with a rubber band, a candy bar, and a small notepad with a stub of pencil attached. On the pad was a telephone number. Not a name, just a number. But Jennifer didn't need the name to know his phone number she was staring at. Lucas Modern Aldous. Why would Mrs. Trax have Lucas's phone number in her handbag? She must know him. How? And why didn't he say something about knowing Stella? Was he keeping something from her? Jennifer snapped the handbag shut and jumped to her feet, slamming the cabinet door. Lucas in his unbended, patronizing ways. Lucas who thought she had so much to learn. She had learned that Lucas hadn't been honest with her. She was going to face him with this demand an answer.
Ooh, okay, hold there, stop there. All right, we're gonna stop right at that point today. That's a good place to stop. All right. From what we found out there,
That's not fair.
why?
I got time. We can keep reading.
I love it, Taryn. You're so into this book. I love it. Yeah, it's getting suspenseful now, isn't it? Okay? All right. What do we think? Have we changed our mind? Is Lucas Maldonado maybe a suspect now?
No.
You don't think he's the stalker?
It could be, but I feel like they would put more pressure on him before.
Hmm.
They don't have enough on him.
Hunter, what do you think? Turn your mute off and tell me what you think.
I think it's interesting.
Okay. It is interesting, though, isn't it?
So I have a question.
Yes.
When do you think this would have taken place?
When? You're always about the win. What time?
Who's
Okay,
gonna
that's a good-
say that?
That's a good question because she talked about credit card carbons.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Right. Back before we had all these electronic devices where you just slide your credit card in and it works, they didn't have those back then. They had these like contraptions that were about like this. I don't have, it was like the size of a game thing that you would play. Okay. But you set it down and you actually put this strip of paper that had carbon copies on it, and then you stick your credit card in a spot, and then you slid it over, and it imprinted all of your information on that little receipt. And so that's the way they used to do credit cards back in like the 80s. Okay, so we're talking somewhere, I'm thinking somewhere in the 1980s is where we're talking about. Because
85 is copyrighted.
copyright was 85, huh?
That's pretty good.
Claire, you had something to say?
Well, for a while I was thinking it was in the 40s, but
No. The 40s wouldn't have carbon copies of the credit cards like she's finding in the Mrs. Trax's purse.
so 80s probably.
Yes, we're talking 80s. We don't have cell phones yet, or somebody shared their screen with us.
I did.
Blinky. Oh, she found it. Looky there.
Yeah.
Can you see what she's sharing there? That's what those machines look like. And then they had like 2 or 3 pieces of paper, and you slid over the credit card information, and like right here, if you can see where I'm doing, that put all the information, the numbers and everything, and when the car expired, and then they could write in how much you owed and all that stuff right in there. Okay?
So would you be able
Your
to
screen's lagged out.
would you be able to do this just anywhere, like at home or whatever?
No. They had the machines at the stores. So you went to the store and then used it.
I did not hear anything you guys said.
I'm sorry.
My computer just like, it just popped up on Mrs. Blakey's screen, and that was it. Like, it just lagged out. I don't know.
Too much data for your internet to handle there for a moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Claire was basically asking if those machines you could have at home, and I told her no. Usually just stores had them. Okay.
Well, can you have that one at home that you just showed?
No. Most people didn't.
Oh.
It's just a
Well,
good.
like nowadays, can you have that?
Not really. It's kind of really outdated stuff. I haven't seen any place use that anymore at all, unless they just aren't up on the latest technologies that you can use. But there's so many things that you can use to pay electronically now that there's no reason to have those, except for nostalgia reasons.
I got the job at the golf course.
Is that what you were applying for?
Yeah.
Did you use Mr. Lyons as a reference too?
No, I used Mr. Willems and Mr. Noyd.
Oh, okay, cool. I know you asked me if I could be your reference. That was nice of you to ask.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want, if they call I don't want them to get a random phone call, like, what the heck?
Yeah, so you asked Mr. Willems and Mr. Noyd too?
Yeah.
Okay, good job.
Mr. Noy just goes. Mr. Noy just goes. Sure.
At least, at least you've learned a little bit about, making sure you contact people and ask them for references. That's something we've learned in our English class
Mhm.
this year, or talked about at least. You probably knew.
Yeah. That was my first actual application. They told me that I pretty much already had the job, but I just had to fill out the application just so they had it and everything.
So you get to do
It
a
really
lot of
wasn't.
mowing and stuff.
No, I picked up the range balls, I take out trash, I spray down golf carts with hand sanitizer stuff pretty much, and take out trash. Clean the trash out of the golf cart. I've done the golf ball picking before because they're short ones, like a couple years ago, so I did it from. It's not the funnest job, but hey, I mean, it's money, so I complain, I guess.
Turn your video off.
Money's money.
Well, you were just becoming very digital there for a moment, and
What?
That's
I
why.
can't hear you. I can just see you guys laughing. I don't. Why is everybody laughing?
It was
You
your
know
lag
anything?
time on your computer.
I can see was you guys. All I could see was you guys laughing, and I couldn't hear you though. So what did I say wrong?
It was nothing. It was the lag on the computer, and it sounded very digital.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna call it a meeting, okay, guys? Right before we started, I sent you out the vocab quiz to do today, so make sure you get that done this week or weekend. All right. And I'll see Claire and Hunter on Tuesday for our Zoom meeting for math. Okay. All right. Keep plugging away, guys. You're doing good. All right.
Trying.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.